Who, what, where? Take one.
Hi, I'm Sein. My day job is financial technology. My life outside of that is writing, critiquing, theorizing, philosophizing about hip hop. I really struggled with this, and I'm not sure I'm at the end of it yet. Moved to this country early 2000s from Zambia, Central Africa. Never left the country before, and moved to an almost exclusive white city, which is still almost exclusively white to this day. Hull, if anyone knows it, it's at the end of the train track. And very quickly living in that atmosphere, you learn two things. One, you are different from everyone else around you, and they're very confident in the world that they live in, and you're very much an addition to that. Learning how to keep your head on a swivel and that sort of thought and that sort of rhetoric. And for me, learning to be British was being able to weave that into being able to be comfortable wherever you are. So being British kind of became a confidence piece for me. Very aware that though I have felt like an outsider or felt like a +1 to the event that sometimes is the UK, creatively, I'm always aware that I might be putting something out that what I have grown up with as being the normal or being the majority around me may not understand, they may not want to understand, or they may not entertain at all. Moving from, professionally moving from technology into more financial technology, it was very clear that there's almost like a utopia in which both of those worlds build. In technology, there's the young, wealthy who have got lots of income to be able to spend on keeping up to date with the most gadgets, and that instantly, even by definition of those three things, negates and minimizes a lot of other things which are instantly attributed to the others of society. In what I focus in, which are the people who are on the vulnerable end or on the sometimes not the profitable end, the end that doesn't have the spotlight, it's being aware that that isn't a bad thing. It isn't bad to be the person who doesn't have the fanciest new gadget or who doesn't have the shiny new gold card that gets you into the lounge here and there. It's being able to facilitate a normal for an entire spectrum of people. By having your credentials ready, being able to articulate, being able to answer those questions and justify why it's not just a given that you sat in that room and that you're a given that you presented yourself that way and are still able to sit in the room. It was a few things led up to the moment in which I went, it's actually easier to be the whole me rather than try and compartmentalize and box things up and present things in a pretty way. For me, it was being able to go, you know what? Whatever I deal with, they're probably going to get the best version of me if I save my mental stress of creating this package of short back and sides and trim hair and articulating and minimizing myself sometimes physically to create the safe space. If I go in completely genuine, it may whittle out a lot, but it means that what I do isn't based on this sometimes shaky foundation or foundation which is sometimes just feels like a show. Very quickly I realized I was the only one in that room that looked like me. There are other cultures and other communities and other people who view success as a different thing. For me, success is nothing to do with my annual income or how many holidays a year I can go on. To some people, success is literally the last few letters on their license plate because it might be private. And that's okay, but it's not always the goal for others. Moving away from the once upon a time cliche of black identity in this country was African or Caribbean, and it didn't give any time or light to specifying exactly what the breakdown on the spectrum of that was, to now being honest and being able to identify and give praise to the really unique journeys and complexities that come from all of the different spectrums of being black in the UK. So for me, it was one, no longer having to follow up where I'm from with a quick lesson on geography. Not having to instantly have to differ myself from American culture, from Caribbean culture, and being able to confidently go, yeah, like Zambia is a place, you may not have heard of it, but it's still a place. Not hearing of a place once upon a time was almost a joke or a lack of belief. But yeah, I no longer have to do that. So it feels like we're now at a place we can begin to learn about the differences. Sometimes it's trivialized, like the eternal Jollof argument. Sometimes it's trivialized, but sometimes that lends credit to people learning that there are different places that create the black identity in this country. It's to be a face. So being able to put myself in the rooms and in the places of places that I have not seen my own representation before. I'm very fortunate that I can knock on certain doors and I have support structure that allow me to get there, but it's also being able to turn around to the people who are a few years behind me, the kids around me, and go, I do all of these things make up what I am, and I haven't had to create a shell that I put on when I walk through the door at work and then that I have to take off, and I only have to censor myself in the same way everyone else around me has to censor themselves. And I don't have to create a mask to be whatever people deem as successful, that I do. Sometimes presentation is the first power. And for me, it's like, if I can do that, if I can present myself and someone else will see that, even if it's one person, or I can have a conversation with other people inside the room, presenting myself the way I do and the way I am, then we've made one step.